I'm Adam Collins. This is Crick Buzz Centre Stage at the Oval, where today Australia were 87-run victors over Sri Lanka. In the process, that 2 points puts them to the top of the table in this World Cup at roughly the halfway stage. They're in a really good position now. One more win, and Australia are just about into the Final Four already. It looks like a comprehensive margin, and it was. After making 334, they bowled out Sri Lanka for 247. So the margin is considerable. But for a time there, in Sri Lanka's reply, they were going along beautifully. They put on 116 for the first wicket. Karunaratne alongside Kusal Perera. Of course, we saw what Perera could do in that test match famously earlier this year against South Africa. He was batting magnificently alongside his captain, who was a controversial pick to lead this side, given he's never made a one-day 100 and he hadn't played for 4 years. But today he was batting like Brian Lara. He was magnificent for a period of time there. Unfortunately for Sri Lanka, once they lost one wicket, it was a consistent and steady stream thereafter. The run rate required went through the roof. They weren't able to keep up with Mitchell Starc and Pat Cummins and Kane Richardson and Jason Beredorff, the four quicks, all getting into the wicket. Starc claiming 4 of them, which means that he's got 13 across the tournament, the most so far in World Cup 2019. They just overwhelmed Sri Lanka, who are now way back in the pack. They won one game against Afghanistan, but 1 win out of 5 games with 2 rained out. They're a long way back in the tournament now. But it really was set up by the man of the match, Australia's captain, Aaron Finch. He made 153, walking out, opening the batting. We knew on a ground which he knows so well here, where he plays for Surrey in county cricket, that he would know the conditions well. He hit with the wind to the short boundary. It worked really well across the course of his long innings. He batted initially with David Warner, who was scratchy, then Usman Khawaja, who battled as well, but he found a likely teammate in Stephen Smith. They put on plenty, the biggest partnership we've seen in this tournament so far. Smith made 73 off 59 balls. He was back to his nimble best, taking balls from well outside off stump and flicking them behind square for 4. Alongside Finch, he gave him the confidence to hit long and over the rope. He brought up his 100, then made his next 50 in just 30 balls. So he accelerated when Australia had already laid the foundation. Glenn Maxwell made 45 not out in a hurry at the end. It must be said, though, that Sri Lanka's death bowling was exemplary. They only made 33 runs in the final 5, but the damage had already been done by Smith and Maxwell and ultimately Aaron Finch with his 153, which equals the highest score made in this tournament so far. And here was Aaron Finch talking about the victory after play and how he's in such great nick at the perfect time.
I think the time in Dubai, or in the UAE, the series against Pakistan was really good. The end of the Indian series was really good as well in the one days. I'll probably just change my mindset a little bit more than anything. I started to doubt my game a lot before that, along in the Australian summer, and there was a lot of times when I was just questioning every single decision that I was making, whether it was technical, mental, physical, like everything that I was doing, I was just questioning because you're looking for an answer that you don't know what the answer is. So it can be really tough at times when you don't know what the end result is, but you're searching so hard for something you don't know. So that it was a really great learning for me over the summer. Obviously, would have been nice to have that at 22 and not 32, but I think overall what I learned was you can strip it back as much as you want, but it doesn't change the basics of the game. The basics as an opening batter, to go out there and defend the good ball and score runs. So for me, I was looking for everything other than just what the most basic thing, which is watch the ball and react to it. I mean, you can butter it up anyway, but I was just going back to the basics, doing a little bit of mental work on changing my mindset to just be positive. And Andrew McDonald always says to me, if you get caught at mid-on or you get caught at first slip, you're still out. So play your natural game.
Referencing Australia's bowling, one sort of unheralded hero today was actually Glenn Maxwell. He tied up the run rate at an important time with his off-spin, and they just didn't go after him. One thing they could have done, Sri Lanka, one thing they should have done was go after the fifth bowler, especially considering he's not a frontline spinner. Again, they chose to go in without Adam Zampa and Nathan Lyon. Instead, Maxwell got through his 10 overs for 46 in the middle overs and clogged them up, which enabled Finch to have some flexibility. And talking about Mitchell Starc, his 4 wickets, it should have been a 5-wicket haul really. He didn't get a chance to clean them out at the very end. But Starc, now 13 wickets in the competition. He's so effective in these global tournaments. 4 years ago in the World Cup, he took 22 poles at an average of single figures and was player of the tournament. He's well on his way to replicate a haul like that in 2019 as well. Impressive also is the fact that Pat Cummins, Kane Richardson and Jason Berendorf, who all took some tap earlier in the innings, all bounced back. It was the four of them together who combined to take the 10 Sri Lankan wickets. For Sri Lanka's part, we didn't actually see them at the press conference. They're very disappointed in the way they feel they've been treated in this tournament so far. There's been a letter sent from their manager about their training facilities, about their accommodation, about their transport. It's unclear whether them not coming to the press conference is related to that, whether it's a protest of sorts, but either way, it's curious. We haven't seen them today, but it only gets harder for them after playing 5 games and collecting just 4 points along the way. They now go on to have to play India later in the tournament. Of course, they play England later in the tournament. The degree of difficulty is ratcheting up on Sri Lanka. Had they won today, they would have been equal second on points, but instead, it's a long, long way back for them. For Australia, the opposite is true. In their next game against Bangladesh, if they get the 2 points up at Nottingham later next week, they'll have the chance to already book their spot in the semi-final with 3 games to go. That'd be a fantastic position for Aaron Finch's side to be in, and it was helped considerably by a relatively convincing win here today at the Oval. I'm on my way to Manchester for the biggest game there is, India-Pakistan. I can't wait to be there tomorrow for Cricket Buzz Centre Stage.